This video is about section 3-3 on student loans, which I know is a very important topic to current high school students thinking about potential education in the future and then how much debt that will incur. So in this video, we will explain the options available for student loans. We will calculate the interest due in various student loan situations, and we will apply the simplified daily interest formula to do some calculations about student loans and debt. Okay? If we were in class, we would have a discussion about what's your career field that you're looking at. Are you planning on going to college? How much will college cost? And how will you pay for that college? I would never discourage someone from going to college, but I would always encourage students to think about how much will college cost and at least factor into your choice of where to go to college is how much that education will cost. Okay? Now, some important vocabulary for us in this section. First is the FAFSA. That is the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. This is the loan application for federal education aid, but many private educational and lending institutions require it. This is the first step for receiving federal education aid, but also many scholarships or grants will also ask for your FAFSA. Okay? Now, from your FAFSA, you may have some options. There are federal direct subsidized loans, or Stafford loans. These are needs-based student loans. The government pays the interest while you're in school and for 6 months after graduation. Okay? Notice that it's subsidized, it's needs-based, and the government pays the interest. Okay? That's different from a federal direct unsubsidized Stafford loan. This is not needs-based. The student will pay interest while in school, but you can defer this and to start paying until 6 months after graduation. Okay, so based on how much student need you have, financial need, if you have a lot, you may get a subsidized loan where the government pays the interest. When you graduate, you just pay how much you borrowed. Okay, versus if you don't have as much financial need, you'll receive an unsubsidized loan where you will need to pay the interest while you're in school, but you can say, I will start when I finish school so that you can not worry about those payments while you're in school. Okay? The FAFSA also applies for federal Pell Grants. These are also needs-based. And a grant is like a scholarship where you don't pay the money back. And so it's basically free money that you use towards your education. So at this point, if you want to pause the video and jot down these vocabulary words, you may. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, let's try some example problems. As an incoming college freshman, Ariana received a 10-year, $9,100 federal direct unsubsidized loan, that's an important word, with an interest rate of 4.29%. She knows that she can begin making loan payments 6 months after graduation, but interest will accrue from the moment the funds are credited to her account. How much interest will accrue while she is still in school and over the 6-month grace period for this freshman year loan? All right. Now, I don't have a lot of experience. I actually didn't take out a student loan. But I'm pretty sure this is how it works in that you will receive not just like here is a loan for your entire education. You'll kind of get it per semester so that how much interest accrues is less, meaning you will not get the money you'll need senior year until you get to senior year. So you're only paying interest on senior year interest for the 1 year as opposed to the 4. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Okay, unsubsidized, she's paying the interest. Now the thing you must know about interest while in college is that it is computed using simple interest, which is in your best interest, right? So if it's simple interest, then the interest that you accrue is not itself earning interest. So it should be less because it's simple interest. Okay? Now, simple interest formula is I equals PRT, where the interest amount is equal to the principal, how much was borrowed, times the rate as a decimal, times the time in the number of years. Okay? So the question that's being asked is how much interest will accrue? So how much interest will there be? That's I. Okay? I want to sign for I. The principal is how much she borrowed, which is $9,100. And the rate is this as a decimal. So as a decimal, you go this way twice, boop, boop, and it's 0.0429. Okay? 0.0429. Okay? The only place this is tricky is figuring out the time. Okay? Now, if this is a freshman year loan, and assuming she's going to a 4-year college, then she will receive the money freshman year. She will pay for her education or use that money her freshman year, but she will not pay it back until 6 months after graduation. And so she'll have it all of freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and senior year, plus 6 more months. That's approximately 4.5 years. Okay, now time is a time in years. So 4.5 is the 4 years in college, plus 6 months after to get a job. If you multiply those together, you get an amount of $1,756.76. Okay, now that's how much interest will accrue from that loan freshman year. That would be added to make sure it's a little easier to see, to the $9,100 that she borrowed, by the way. And so you're looking at maybe $11,000-ish in this must be paid back by the time she begins making payments after college. Okay? All right. Number 2, suppose Ariana had taken out a subsidized loan, meaning she had more financial need, and it's a subsidized loan, meaning the government pays some of it, for the same amount at the same interest rate for the same loan length. Okay, so let's say she has more financial need. It's a subsidized loan. The question is, how much interest would she have to pay for the time she is in school during the 6-month grace period? Well, if it's subsidized, then the government pays the interest, and so the answer would be $0. Okay, so the difference between subsidized versus unsubsidized in this case is $1,700. Okay, Ariana can elect to defer all payments during the 4.5-year period. Her loan balance would then be the sum of the amount borrowed and the interest accrued over the 4.5-year non-payment period. Determine the interest she would pay on this loan. So let's assume that Ariana deferred payments on her unsubsidized loan, and she's going to begin paying 6 months after graduation. And the question is, how much would she pay over the life of the loan? So she'd be paying the amount that she borrowed, $9,100, plus the interest that accrued while she was in college, which we found to be $1,756.76. And that's a total loan amount of $10,876.76. That's how much she owes. Now, to figure out how much she must pay, we have to go to our monthly payment formula. Remember that big old formula? Okay, where the amount that she's paying off is this $10,000 number. So $10,856.76, okay, times R over N, which is the interest rate, which we don't have it here, but on the previous page, that interest rate was 0.0429. Okay, and this is monthly. She's paying it monthly, so that would be 12 times 1 plus the interest rate, 0.0429 over 12, to the power of NT, which is 12 times a year, Now, how long? Now, it doesn't say it here. A very common mistake is about 4.5 because that number is sitting right there. Okay, that was how long it went from receiving the money to begin paying. That is not how long she has to pay off the loan. If you go back in number 1, we're told that Ariana received a 10-year unsubsidized loan, meaning when she begins making payments, from that moment on, she has 10 years to pay it off. So in this case, it's not 4.5, it's going to be 10. It's a 10-year loan, she'll have 10 years to pay it off when she begins paying. Divided by 1 plus r over n, 0.0429, divided by 12, to the power of n times t, again, same t, the same 10-year loan, minus 1. And don't forget that minus 1. Okay. Now, when you're plugging this into your calculator, I highly recommend on the TI-84, you push alpha, the button to the right of alpha, it gives you a fraction. Okay. And then you type all this in with more fractions or just doing this divided by that in parentheses. If you plug that in, you should get 111.42. Okay, now I would highly recommend that you don't take my word for it. You actually practice plugging it in to make sure that the number you get is the same one I get. If not, ask those around you for help on how you put this in. Okay, the minus 1 is a common thing that students forget. Okay, now we're not done. It's not 111.42 is all she pays. She still pays back the full amount. Okay, but she's paying back 111.42 every single month for the next 10 years. So how much did she pay? She pays 111.42 times 10 years times 12 months. So every single month for 10 years, she's paying 111.42 every single month. And so in total, she has paid 13,370.40. Okay, but not all of that is the interest that she paid. Let's pick a new color. Let's go orange. So not all that is the interest she would pay, right? Because some of that money is paying back the $9,100 that she borrowed. Okay, so if you then subtract, I'm kind of running out of space here, 13,370.40, and subtract how much she borrowed, that's not the interest, that's, anyway, then it's a total of 4,270.40. That's how much in interest she would pay over while she's in college. That's the $1,700 while she's in college, and then while she pays off the loan, at that point, it's growing. She's paying it off, but it's still growing how much she owes. Okay, so in total, $300 is how much she is paying in interest. So she could borrow the $9,100. Okay. Again, I wouldn't discourage you from going to college, but just be aware that the amount that you borrow will have, maybe half-ish is how much you're paying in interest, just to be aware of that. Okay, number 4, suppose that Ariana only paid the interest during the 4-year in school and the 6-month grace period. What will Ariana now pay in interest over the term of her loan? So let's say Ariana says, well, I can't pay back the $9,100 right away. That's why I'm taking out the loan. But I can make those payments for the interest while I'm in college. I have a college job. I'll pay the interest while I'm in college, and therefore I'll have less to pay when I get back. So the amount that she is, let's jot down here that she's already paid, 1,756, is already paid. In interest, okay? And the amount that she owes is 9,100. Okay? Now, you will plug this number into the monthly payment formula. This is going to be the P in your monthly interest formula. Okay? What I want you to do is to pause the video and try to finish this problem. If she only borrowed $9,100, okay, I guess how much she's paying back for monthly payments, then how much would she pay in interest over the term of her loan? Okay, please pause the video and give this problem a try. Okay, I'm going to erase and scroll up so I have a bit more room. Okay, again, keep in mind that she has already paid $17.56, 76 already paid. Okay, and now she's paying in the loan amount. She owes, let's say, $9,100. Okay. Now, in the monthly payment formula, I wanted a new color. M is equal to the amount borrowed, 9,100, times the same thing from R over 12, so 0.0429 divided by 12, times 1 plus R over 12, 0.0429 divided by 12, the power of 12 times t, okay? And just like before, it's a 10-year loan, so she has 10 years to pay it back, okay? All over 1 plus 0.0429 over 12, power of 12 times t, where t is 10, minus 1, that's sneaky minus 1, and that's equal to $93.39. So she's paying only $93 every single month for 10 years instead of the $111. And so the amount that she's paying is $93.39 every month for 10 years. And so she pays a total of $112.0680. Okay? Now, I'm going to keep in mind the fact that she has already paid this amount in interest, right? While she's in college, she's still paying that amount. So I'm going to add that back to how much she is paid in total for this loan. So plus 1756.76, which gives you a total amount that she is paid as 12963.56. Okay, so she's now paid almost $13,000 for this loan. Okay, but she, that's not all interest, right? She did borrow some, and so just like before, we'll take the 3.56, and we will subtract off how much she borrowed, $9,100, and that gives us $3,863.56 is how much she paid in interest. Okay, so the difference between her paying interest in college versus waiting until the after school to pay was a difference of $400 in this case. Okay, and so that's $400 is $400. It depends on if she's able to pay. Basically, the rule of thumb with loans is the sooner you can pay it off, the less you're going to pay. Okay, so if she's able to pay it off while she's in college, she'll end up paying less overall. But if it's too much for her while she's in college, trying to make ends meet, then pay it off afterwards. But the rule of thumb with loans, the quicker you can pay it off, the less interest you'll pay. Okay. All right. So number 5, instead of a federal loan, suppose that Ariana had been able to get a private loan at a slightly higher interest rate of 6.4%. So it's not a subsidized loan from the government. She went to a bank, got a private loan at a rate of 6.4% for the same period of time, so 10 years, with immediate repayment. So if she takes out the loan, she must begin paying right away. That is, as soon as the funds are deposited into her account, she must begin making monthly payments. What would her monthly payment be? That's the first question. So I'm going to erase the above thing so I have some more room. Okay, so the question is, now it's a new interest rate. What would her monthly payment be? That's the first question. What would her total payment be? That's the second question. And how much would she have paid in interest? That's the third question. So make sure we get all 3 of those questions being answered. Okay, I want to match the first color. Okay, so Yeah, her monthly payment, that's a code word that we're using the monthly payment formula. M is equal to how much she borrowed. And it's the same $9,100. Okay, it's still the R, but this rate is different. If I go boop, boop, it's 0.064 is 6.4% as a decimal, divided by 12 times 1 plus R over 12, which is 0.064, divided by 12, to the power of 12 times, again, it's a 10-year repayment of a loan, all over 1 plus 0.064, the new rate, divided by 12, to the power of 12 times 10 years to pay it back, minus 1, don't miss that minus 1, is equal to 102.87 is her monthly payment. So that's the first question. What's her monthly payment? $102.87. Okay. Now she's paying that even while she's in college, so hopefully she can make that payment while she's in college. Okay. What would her total payment be? Well, she's paying 102.87 every month for 10 years. Okay. And it's a total of 4.40. Okay? That's the total payment. And that's just for our notes. Let's write monthly payment. Okay? And the last question is how much would she have paid in interest? She is, the $9,100 that she borrowed, that's not interest. That's just paying back the principal. So you take the amount she paid in total, $12,344.40, and subtract how much she borrowed. And the amount of interest that she borrowed is $3,244.40 in interest. Okay, so to borrow $9,100, that for that freshman year, she paid $3,000 back. Now that's less than the previous two, right? But she's paying this back while she's in college, right? So during the next 4 years, she's still paying this $102.87 while she's still in college. Again, the rule of thumb with borrowing money: the quicker you pay it off, the less you'll pay. Okay, so the last question that we're doing is number 6. Pete took out a private 8-year loan. Okay, not 10 years, an 8-year loan for $6,000 at an interest rate of 5.56%. Okay, how much will he pay in interest? Again, you'll figure out the monthly payment formula. How much is he paying per month on this loan? Okay, over the 8-year period, how much is he paid in total? Subtract off the $6,000 that he borrowed, and that's how much he's paid in interest for borrowing this. Okay, will you please pause the video and give this problem a try? Okay, so here we go. So let's see here. We first got to figure out how much the monthly payments are. Okay, so he's borrowed $6,000. Okay, the interest rate, if I go boop, boop, 0.0556 is his interest rate. So 0.0556 divided by 12 times 1 plus R over 12, which is 0.0556 divided by 12, to the power of 12 times the number of years he's paying it off, which is 8 years. Okay, all over 1 plus R over 12, which is 0.0556 divided by 12, to the power of 12 times t, which is 8 years, minus 1, and that equals $77.57 is how much he's paying every single month. Okay, now, again, if you're paying $77.57 every single month for 8 years, so 77.57 every single month for 8 years, that comes out to a total of, sorry, my equal signs, $7,446.72. Okay. Now, not all of that is interest. If you take the 7,446.72 and you subtract how much you borrowed, the 6,000, then you get an interest amount of $1,446.72. Okay, so in order to borrow that $6,000 over the course of the next 8 years, you'll have paid the bank $1,446.72. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea of kind of how to calculate student loan. Now again, it's probably a bigger deal to figure out, oh, if I get this amount of money every single year, you're computing it per year. That's one of the projects we'll look at the end of this chapter is student loan, and how much will I be, how much of a loan do I need? How much will I pay over the life of the loan? Again, I would never discourage you from going to college, but be aware of how much it costs. All right. So this video, we explained the options available for student loans, subsidized versus unsubsidized versus a private loan. Okay, we calculate the interest due in various student loan situations. We figure out how much you'd pay in interest to have that loan, and we applied the simplified daily interest formula to figure out how much you'd be paying. All right, thank you so much for watching.